But when your sin goes public,
Come on. Come on.
when your sin goes public, people act like they have none.
Me that are without sin, cast the first stone.
And I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body.
I think that we as Christians should just pray.
I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons.
Hey, Bishop Jakes, how
What's
are you?
up, man?
Man, it's so good to see you.
It's better to see you. How you doing?
What if the same voices preaching salvation on Sunday mornings were secretly living a parallel life?
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallow?
So, did Diddy just spill the names of some of the most important spiritual leaders in the country? Could the guys who were meant to advise us get caught up in the same mess? Let's begin with Bishop T. Jakes, one of the most prominent and well-known personalities in the Christian world.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
But despite his fame, Jake got caught up in the allegations of a YouTube channel, Tough News TV, that were then taken up on other social media platforms, resulting in his name trending on the internet a few months ago. In the video, host Jermaine MC Kinley alleged that he was sent an anonymous email claiming Cassie Ventura was assisting the FBI in an investigation against Diddy after the former filed and settled a civil lawsuit against the hip-hop mogul, accusing him of heinous acts of violence during their decade-long relationship. The email read, "My RD and Stein Noise." So I want to put you up on game on the real nature of Diddy and Bishop Jake's relationship. But first, let's understand that Bishop Jake is not of God. He is obviously a Freemason, and so is Diddy. And I say was because it looks as if he has been deprived of his protection, privileges, and authority. But make no mistake about it, his soul is still spoken for by the devil. He will never be able to fight against or avoid that brutal truth. Anyway, I'm informed Diddy and Jake's disguise the genuine nature of their relationship.
Would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin?
According to the email back in June 1983, Kim Porter claimed TD Jake Jakes was accused of fooling with a young lad barely a year after tying the married with his wife. The rumor is the entire affair was hushed up somehow. Fast forward to 1999 when a person threatened to spill the beans on Jakes. Inexplicably, he disappeared. Pastor Blank discloses that the individual was paid money to be silent. 2 years later, the same individual showed up dead with a gunshot to the head. This all took down at Emmanuel Temple of Faith in Smithers, West Virginia. Rumor has it some from Jake's hometown claim he's been on the down low with boys all along. And there's even rumors of some older pastor grooming him. MC Kinley also claimed Cassie had given over damning evidence, including Kim Porter's burner phone and a USB stick holding film of one of Diddy's sex parties to authorities.
Recently today, I've heard from 2 other victims that so it's just a lot to talk about, that experienced the same thing that I experienced.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallow?
MC Kinley added that Jake was in attendance at one of the gatherings when he reportedly slept with many males. He further said that numerous male escorts would apparently verify the charges against Jake and that a young guy was set to sue the bishop for crimes that allegedly happened when he was 16 years old. In addition to all this, rapper and hip-hop musician Mase also disclosed what he knows about the connection between Diddy and Jake. If you are a lover of hip-hop music, you may have heard about the continuing fight between rappers Mase and Diddy. The two used to be close partners in the 1990s, when Mase was one of the biggest performers signed to Diddy's Bad Boy label. However, things went bad in the early 2000s when Mase believed that Diddy was using him and not paying him adequately for his efforts. Mase has been public about his frustrations with Diddy, particularly when the latter delivered a statement at the 2020 Grammys denouncing the lack of appreciation for black music by the business. Mase accused Diddy of being disingenuous and of withholding his publication rights for 24 years. He stated that he offered Diddy $2 million to buy back his publication, but Diddy declined and demanded for more money. But what does Pastor TD Jake Jakes have to do with this feud? Well, according to Mase, Diddy has a strange connection to the famed preacher. In a recent song titled Oracle 2, The Liberation of Mason Betha, Mace unleashed a surprise that stunned many listeners. He rapped, "Diddy got a deal with TD Jake. That's why he never paid me. He knew I'd be free one day, and he ain't want me to say what I'm going to say today." So, what does this verse mean? Is Mace insinuating that Diddy struck some type of agreement with TD Jake to quiet him or to prevent him from leaving?
A USB drive, and Kim Porter's burner phone. Now, there is also an alleged email out saying a plethora of other things that include TD Jakes.
Just man like himself be at a party, which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro. Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe
that multiple male escorts corroborated the fact that TD Jakes have slept with multiple men at Diddy's parties. And
he's saying that TD Jake is somehow connected in Diddy's dubious business practices, or is he merely tossing out random names to stir some controversy? Unfortunately, we don't have a clear response to these queries since neither Diddy nor TD Jake have replied to Mace's claims. However, some fans have hypothesized that Mace may be alluding to an event that occurred in 2014 when Diddy contributed $1 million to TD Jake's church in Dallas. At the time, Diddy declared that he was impressed by Jake's speech and wanted to help his work. However, several critics questioned Diddy's motivations and asked whether he was attempting to purchase favor with TD Jake or earn a tax advantage. Some further pointed out that Diddy has a history of abusing artists and not paying them what they deserve. This contribution might have been part of a bigger strategy to keep Mace under his control. As if that's not enough, in 2022, a video of Jake attending Diddy's 53rd birthday celebration sparked a commotion on social media. In reaction to the criticism, the executive vice president of TD Jake Entertainment, who also attended the celebration, claimed the pastor only made a short presence at the occasion.
Aggressively, and I want you to know God could use me aggressively, because for years, these guys have organized a mass organized effort to slander
wildfire online and prompted Jake's name to trend on several social media sites over the previous few days. This caused Jordan H., Executive Director of Public Relations and Communications for the TD Jake Group and TD Jake Ministries, to dispute the claims to the Christian Post while passionately refuting the false and then justified charges. He added, "Recent claims circulating on pockets of social media about Bishop TD Jake are unequivocally false and baseless." Shortly after, his staff published a statement denouncing the allegations. While live streaming his Saturday night sermon on YouTube, Jake reportedly addressed the concerns by refusing to speak about false narratives online, indicating that the allegations were falsehoods.
See, they put you in a situation where you can't win. If you hang out with the rich folk, you're snooty. If you stoop down low and get somebody in trouble, you had no business. So I'm supposed to sit at home and do nothing.
However, Nissan refused to buy into the bishop's fury during his sermon, pointing out that he did not explicitly address the claims. In any event, Jake had no business being at Diddy's gatherings, much alone being a close buddy of his. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, saints should have no interaction with sinners. Now, we all know about the strange things that happened during Diddy's fabled parties. Rappers and celebrities have been pointing to odd conduct at Diddy's private gatherings for years. In fact, 50 Cent recently explained the nature of these events and why he avoids them at all costs. They hug you from the front and the back at the same time. If you into that, you into it. I'm okay with it. I'm just saying this ain't my motherfucking sort of party. I'm uneasy. I believe I belong in the girls' bathroom. He said while the charges against Jake are unfounded, this is not the first time the bishop has been entangled in trouble. In 2009, TD Jake's son, Jermaine Jakes, was detained after he reportedly exposed himself at Key Park in Dallas and conducted indecent behaviors in front of two persons who turned out to be undercover police. Moreover, last year, the oldest daughter of Bishop Jake, Cora Jake Coleman's divorced husband, Richard Coleman, was accused of beating their adopted daughter. Anyway, it doesn't help that Bishop Jake has previously been affiliated with another contentious character, Eddie Long. For those unaware, Long was a preacher whose career was plagued by charges of impropriety with young men in his flock.
Everything was true. All I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. There's enough power in the blood to cover all kinds of sins. I don't care what it is, the blood would fix it. But I ain't got to repent about this. All I got to do is step over top of it and keep on going on.
Thus, when TD Jake's name began becoming associated with Diddy's legendary parties, people started making connections that no one ever wanted to believe. Senior pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist, Since 1987, Long monitored the church's explosive increase, with membership ballooning from a modest 300 to 25,000. The Long has been senior pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist since 1987. The church stated it grown from 300 members to more than 25,000 under Long's command and become one of the nation's biggest congregations. The church operated television and international ministries and developed satellite churches in numerous cities, including Miami, Denver, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Long was a Christian author, a gospel vocalist, and was also renowned for preaching and practicing a prosperity gospel in which the devoted would be rewarded with prosperity. Long was also noted for his flashy lifestyle as he traveled throughout the globe on a private airplane, drove around Metro Atlanta in a $350,000.
I get the sound of his voice out of my head, and I cannot forget the smell of his cologne, and I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home.
And he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me.
A twist of irony, Long's strident denunciation of homosexuality contrasted dramatically with the claims levied against him by 4 persons. Like many conservative African-American pastors, Long fiercely opposed homosexuality, leading marches in favor of constitutional amendments defining marriage as between a man and a woman and organizing conferences intended at reorienting LGBT persons. These charges paralleled the debacle involving Ted Haggard, another megarch pastor who fiercely opposed homosexuality before confessing to indulging in illegal activities with a male sex worker in 2006. Moving on, we have prophetess Juanita Bingham. Juanita Bingham, noted for her profound lectures and spiritual conferences, has experienced difficulties of her own throughout the years. But this is a whole other level. She's lately been associated to Diddy's freak-offs, and although she's openly denied any participation, her prior controversies give cause for conjecture. Bingham once remarked on T.D. Jakes' own controversies, advising people to mind their business when he was tied to improper behavior while giving her New Year's Eve service at her Norcross, Georgia church. She felt driven to draw similarities between her sermon and the rumors. The behind-the-veil gospel singer was in the middle of speaking on having kindness to others when she briefly approached the controversial topic. Everybody around me can tell you I don't talk about preachers. I don't speak about anyone because I don't know who's going to have to be my assistants one day. I don't put my lips on the people of God because I wasn't there and I don't know, she began. Elsewhere, throughout the ceremony, Bingham continued to assert that hearsay regarding the fresh accusations relating the prominent personalities to each other was coming from persons who were not in the room when the events may have happened. Mind your business, she said. Okay, I'ma leave that alone because this ain't no New Year's Eve message. Bingham appeared to indicate her support for the Potter's House church leader when she remarked, "If I get a phone call, I'm running. I'm headed straight to Texas." She reiterated her lack of opinion on the allegations launched against the religious figure with a biblical adage adapted from John 8:7. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
And I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of.
But supporting Diddy is the least of her problems. Bingham recently found herself caught in a web of financial dispute with over $1.7 million mysteriously vanishing from 2 charitable groups under her guidance. The mysterious disappearance of yearly financial surpluses, which were simply erased from the records, has provoked intense scrutiny and raised major issues about openness and accountability within her departments. A careful study of financial data uncovers a worrying pattern of irregularities. Surpluses totaling $1,764,427 from 2016 to 2021 were suspiciously lacking from stated assets, presenting huge gaps in the financial story. While steps were made to fix the problem in 2022 by admitting surpluses as assets, the lingering issue of missing monies from earlier years continues to cast a shadow over Bingham's financial administration. In response to rising criticism and mistrust, the IRS may soon initiate an inquiry into these nonprofit companies, wielding the ability to probe their financial activities with a fine-tooth comb. The ramifications of such an investigation might be grave, perhaps revealing instances of theft or financial mismanagement and prompting legal penalties. But financial troubles are only one chapter in Bingham's story of scandal and controversy. Her personal life has been a roller coaster of highs and lows defined by wasteful spending, claims of domestic abuse, and brushes with the authorities. In 2002, Bingham made news with her sumptuous wedding to Bishop Thomas W. Weeks III, a spectacular celebration that apparently cost a whopping $1.2 million. Yet, the fairy tale relationship took a nasty turn only 5 years later when Bingham accused Weeks of domestic abuse, shattering the image of wedded happiness and sparking soul-arching among her ardent followers. Following this, in what looked to many as a blatant chase of profit, Bishop Thomas Weeks issued a book titled What Love Taught Me. This newspaper, decorated with a cover shot from his wife, Juanita Binham's sumptuous wedding day, dug into the weaknesses of their relationship. Among its contents was a chapter apparently headed she wanted to be the next Oprah at any cost, offering insight on the couple's hopes and objectives. Weeks' expose of their personal lives didn't stop with the book. He later pleaded guilty to specific offenses and got a sentence of 3 years of probation and community service.